Al Pacino's astonishing reinvention. The secret Hollywood storm everyone is talking about in the heart of Hollywood, where fortunes can rise and fall overnight. Rumors possess the power to uproot reputations in a flash. Recently, talk of Al Pacino sparked an upheaval unlike anything Tinseltown had felt in years. Insiders whispered that he was planning an extraordinary reinvention, one so bold it might reset the course of his entire legacy. Everywhere you turned, from studio backlots to elegant production offices, people murmured his name. At first, there was only speculation, an unconfirmed sighting of Pacino and exclusive script reading, a hint of hush-hush meetings behind tinted windows, and the sense that he had discovered a project requiring absolute secrecy. Then, a shockwave overtook social media. Obscure accounts claimed Pacino had aligned with a director notorious for rewriting Hollywood's rules. Could it be that the legend had opted to leave safe roles behind and chase something downright seismic? During the early phases of this clamor, many doubted whether any star, no matter how iconic, could reignite interest when new talents constantly burst onto the scene. But those who questioned Pacino's relevance seemed to forget the power he carried. For decades, his performances defined certain eras of cinema, from gritty dramas to lavish spectacles. The possibility that he was returning to set ablaze a brand new chapter in his career jolted fans into a frenzy. And as if orchestrating a grand theatrical spectacle, Pacino remained silent, amplifying the tension. He refused to confirm or deny anything, refusing to feed the tabloids' insatiable appetite for answers. In a city where every detail usually leaks in minutes, his silence spoke volumes. The excitement spiked on a humid afternoon when Pacino made an unannounced appearance at a small acting workshop in Los Angeles. Several lucky attendees, unknowns in the industry, later described a man recharged by uncontainable passion. They said he delivered monologues with such ferocity that spectators nearly forgot to applaud. His face, lined with years of cinematic triumphs and heartbreak, shone with an intensity reminiscent of earlier days, capturing the rawness that had once transformed him from a newcomer into a legend. Footage of his workshop arrival, recorded by a starstruck student on a phone, instantly went viral. The clip showed Pacino stepping onto a makeshift stage, giving nothing away about rumored projects, but emanating an energy that set the internet buzzing. Industry analysts speculated that this moment might be a warm-up for something historic, as if Pacino was reacquainting himself with the primal force that had fueled his breakthrough performances. Not long after this workshop cameo, online chatter bristled with claims that Pacino had covertly acquired a script whose concept defied easy classification. It was described in fleeting phrases, dystopian yet human, epic yet personal, futuristic yet echoing certain eras of the past. Self-proclaimed insiders insisted that the script was so offbeat studios had avoided it for fear it wouldn't fit their usual formulas. In an era dominated by comic adaptations and safe blockbusters, this rumor alone was enough to fascinate anyone paying attention. And if the script truly was that outlandish, it made sense that Pacino, known for diving into uncharted emotional territory, might see it as the perfect playground for reinvention. Within a week, whispers of clandestine script readings circulated through the film community. A site known for frequent leaks reported that Pacino was collaborating with a famously avant-garde filmmaker who had once turned heads by producing a minimalist, dialogue-free film. This news, if accurate, suggested a radical departure from the gangster sagas and psychological thrillers that shaped Pacino's earlier brand. Why commit to such a leap? Observers pinned it on an insatiable creative drive. They theorized that after decades at the apex of Hollywood, Pacino had grown restless, hungry for new territory that guaranteed no comfortable safety net. Where other veterans might carefully preserve their reputations, Pacino seemed prepared to gamble everything, unconcerned that some might label him reckless. A sudden flurry of alleged set photos, though blurred and nearly impossible to confirm, only stoked the fire. One snapshot appeared to show Pacino wearing an uncharacteristic costume, standing on a desert-like expanse dotted with futuristic structures. Another rumor placed him in a rundown mansion at midnight, delivering monologues to an unseen co-star. Eager fans speculated that each location symbolized a different timeline or dimension, hinting at a narrative that traversed multiple realities. Though unverified, these tidbits lit up fan forums with daily debates, giving birth to elaborate theories dissecting possible plot arcs. Even major industry websites, initially dismissive, began covering the swirl of speculation, calling it a phenomenon built on the formidable mystique of Al Pacino's name. While the hype soared, some critics scoffed at the notion that a star of Pacino's age could still command global attention. They pointed to younger icons dominating red carpets and social platforms, claiming that the industry had moved on. Yet the intense social media reaction contradicted these naysayers. Every new rumor pulled in millions of views and spawned endless commentary. YouTube channels devoted entire uploads to analyzing Pacino's potential direction. Articles dissecting his storied history, from gritty crime roles to more introspective later projects, resurfaced. Netflix listings of his classics surged in watch counts, suggesting a new generation was discovering him for the first time, enthralled by the idea that he might soon deliver a creative tsunami equal to his best work. At the center of this maelstrom stood Pacino, maintaining an ironclad silence. He made no official statements, posted no teasers, and granted no interviews. When cornered by entertainment reporters, he simply smiled. Friends hinted that he was immersed in daily rehearsals, some involving live animals, others featuring elaborate choreography. A swirling rumor claimed the production boasted an otherworldly set piece requiring the skills of top engineers. None of it could be proven, yet the intrigue was so thick you could almost taste it. Director acquaintances admitted they were dying to learn what exactly Pacino was up to. A few even tried contacting him directly, only to receive polite but vague responses indicating that he was buried in something special. Then, a bombshell, a micro-trailer, lasting only 10 seconds, appeared online without warning or studio branding. It opened on a single image, a large, faceless clock ticking loudly, followed by a lightning flash revealing Pacino's silhouette. He spoke just one line, in that unmistakable voice. "Every second is a choice." The screen went black, replaced by the date 3 months away. That was it. No cast names, no mention of the rumored director, no marketing tie-ins. Yet the impact was extraordinary. Twitter exploded with theories about what the clock signified, while Reddit threads popped up to dissect every syllable of Pacino's statement. The line itself trended for days. This minimalistic approach felt revolutionary in a marketplace saturated with teasers that typically rely on cinematic spectacle. By going stark, Pacino's camp had effectively seized the digital conversation, stirring massive curiosity for more. With a micro-trailer fueling new excitement, established media outlets chased exclusive scoops. A few claimed insider interviews, but each piece was contradictory. One suggested the film involved espionage in a futuristic metropolis. Another insisted it was an introspective drama about mortality. Still another claimed it wove together multiple short stories anchored by Pacino's character, who traversed different realities. The conflicting narratives only deepened the fascination, giving cynics cause to roll their eyes while devout fans concluded that the production had intentionally dripped disinformation. If the filmmakers aimed to cloak everything in confusion, they had succeeded. As one notable critic wrote, Pacino has us all enthralled by revealing almost nothing. Then came the fateful day when Pacino agreed to appear on a major primetime talk show. The host, a longtime admirer, tried to coax out details. Pacino sidestepped nearly every question. Instead, he mused about creativity, describing how the hunger for new experiences keeps him awake at night. At one point, he broke into a reflective monologue about how real innovation requires stepping beyond known boundaries. Though the interview revealed little, the seriousness in his eyes was unmistakable. Viewers felt they were witnessing a man on the cusp of something monumental. Social media lit up with remarks on his tone, deliberate, almost philosophical. Some said he looked more alive than he had in years, like a seasoned performer rediscovering the thrill of breaking rules. Meanwhile, a new wave of alleged leaks hit the internet. A photograph that seemed to capture a set corridor under green lights, with Pacino wearing an archaic style of clothing. Another snippet of a script page referencing an ancient vow and a future undone. A short recording of background music posted by an anonymous user, featuring haunting strings over a pulsating electronic undercurrent. Fans latched onto every shred, building elaborate theories about time-traveling heroes, moral crises in collapsed societies, or even a surreal detective story that blurred dreams and reality. With no official narrative to guide them, speculation soared as high as imagination allowed. After months of pent-up rumors, an entity calling itself the Nighthawk Collective announced a private screening. The cryptic invitation teased that answers await those who dare to see, featuring Al Pacino's silhouette in the corner. The event took place at a secluded art house theater, admission restricted to a select crowd of critics, influencers, and industry bigwigs. Inside, attendees surrendered their devices to security, ensuring total secrecy. For 2 hours, they watched a rough cut of what was presumably the film. According to the few who spoke later, the movie was a puzzle box of interwoven storylines, anchored by a portrayal from Pacino that was both ferocious and heartbreakingly vulnerable. While non-disclosure agreements prevented them from revealing specifics, they emerged visibly shaken, describing the experience as unlike anything they had ever encountered. One high-profile critic wrote a cryptic post, "Forget everything you think you know about Al Pacino. This is a man reborn." As word of the Nighthawk Collective screening spread, excitement reached a fever pitch. Social platforms burned with demands for a public release date. A major Hollywood trade publication reported that multiple studios entered a bidding war for the distribution rights, each convinced that the film could become a cultural watershed. Some analysts predicted that if handled right, it might spark conversations reminiscent of Pacino's greatest triumphs decades prior. But this time, in a digital age, the entire globe could unite around a single cinematic phenomenon. The tension built with every passing day, culminating in a formal announcement that an official teaser trailer would drop soon, timed to coincide with a major film festival event in Europe. The festival unveiling, carried out before an audience of filmmakers and journalists from around the world, was orchestrated for maximum impact. The main auditorium went dark as ominous music crept through the speakers. The screen lit up to reveal a sweeping shot of a city in ruin, skies streaked red, battered architecture looming. Then Pacino's face appeared, etched with both resilience and desperation, as though he bore the weight of countless stories. Through broken hallways he walked, meeting figures who seemed displaced in time. The footage jumped between moments of heartbreak, cosmic glimpses of star fields, and brutal confrontations where every line Pacino uttered crackled with unstoppable conviction. When the trailer ended, the crowd erupted in applause so thunderous it rattled the walls. Critics, live tweeting from the scene, declared it a milestone for cinematic hype. They posted reaction videos describing Pacino's presence as bigger than myth, urging fans to prepare for a revelation that might dwarf anything they had seen from him before. Following the trailer's reception, a wave of formal interviews and statements finally filled the vacuum of official info. The as-yet untitled film, directed by the bold auteur the rumor mill had tagged months earlier, was revealed to be a labyrinthine story about mankind's struggle to uphold virtue in a rapidly fracturing world. Pacino portrayed a conflicted figure rumored to be part guide, part wanderer, traversing the remnants of civilizations undone by greed and ignorance. Though the details stayed vague, producers confirmed that the narrative demanded every ounce of Pacino's emotional range. One producer called it a once-in-a-career gamble, praising Pacino's willingness to embrace physically and mentally taxing scenes that some younger stars might have deemed too arduous. They showcased behind-the-scenes stills of him braving harsh weather in remote locations, exhaustion etched into his face, yet eyes gleaming with unbreakable resolve. The hype soared even higher when Pacino granted a major magazine interview, the first in-depth piece about his creative journey for this mysterious film. In it, he explained that he had grown restless with safe, conventional roles. According to Pacino, the script's relentless ambition reminded him why he first fell in love with acting. He spoke about confronting his own limits, about nights spent agonizing over the character's motivations. He discussed the necessity of trusting a visionary director who demanded raw authenticity from every performer. Reading the interview, fans recognized the same fearless spirit that had propelled him to the forefront of cinema long ago. But now it sparkled with a new dimension, wisdom forged by decades of success and heartbreak alike. Many readers came away convinced that Pacino was not merely returning to form. He was poised to surpass it. With the months leading to the final release jam-packed with anticipation, marketing teams rolled out cunning promotions. Posters featuring Pacino's likeness cropped up in major cities worldwide, each design capturing a different aspect of his character's journey. Cryptic lines from the film scrolled across social feeds at random intervals, timed to shock viewers into re-examining their assumptions. Movie theaters displayed standees shaped like doorways into unknown worlds, with Pacino's silhouette beckoning from inside. Critics lauded these tactics for defying typical blockbuster marketing. They felt more like a puzzle, coaxing viewers to question, reflect, and above all, stay eagerly hooked. At last, the day arrived. The film premiered in a lavish ceremony befitting Pacino's stature. A massive theater brimmed with stars, legendary directors, and excited fans who had managed to snag the coveted invites. As Pacino stepped onto the carpet, the place erupted in thunderous applause. He offered a modest wave and a contemplative smile. Cameras flashed incessantly, capturing him in a state of palpable calm, as though he fully grasped the weight of the project he was about to present. The hush that descended when he took his seat was almost reverential. It seemed everyone in the venue understood they were on the threshold of something rarely witnessed, an icon pushing the boundaries of his own mythos. Over the next few hours, the audience found themselves whisked through an extraordinary cinematic tapestry. The film, unspooling across multiple timelines and moral dilemmas, showcased Pacino at his most magnetic. Scenes of stark, emotional confrontation blended with grand, sweeping visuals that evoked both wonder and disquiet. At times, the story plunged into themes of betrayal and repentance, then soared into pockets of quiet hope. Through it all, Pacino dominated the screen, shaping entire sequences with little more than a half-lidded stare or a softly spoken confession. The concluding act built to a crescendo, so charged that when the credits finally rolled, tears glistened in many eyes. Then, one by one, people stood up and began to clap. The applause intensified into a standing ovation that lasted nearly 10 minutes. Reporters sprinted to file their immediate reactions, raving that Pacino had surpassed even the most optimistic expectations. As the film's global distribution kicked in, audience reactions proved equally fervent. Crowds poured into cinemas wanting to witness the latest Al Pacino phenomenon, some discovering him for the first time, others hungry to see if the legend could truly outdo himself. Word of mouth soared, fueling repeated viewings. Social media threads carried spirited debates over the meaning of certain cryptic sequences. College film clubs scheduled group outings, dissecting how Pacino's method had adapted for a new century. Critics wrote essays praising the film's blend of audacity and intelligence, and how Pacino anchored it all with an awe-inspiring gravity. In short, the release became a cultural moment, uniting casual viewers and cinephiles in shared fascination. With box office results blowing past projections, the production team celebrated their triumph. They credited Pacino for championing a script few others had dared to support. Influential directors across Hollywood watched in amazement as lines formed for a film that, on paper, seemed like a niche gamble. Streaming platforms scrambled for the secondary rights, hoping to spotlight the movie on their main pages. Meanwhile, mainstream audiences clamored for more glimpses of behind-the-scenes magic, desperate to understand how Pacino had conjured such soul-bearing intensity. Documentaries about the making of the film were swiftly proposed, and the entire creative team found themselves inundated with offers to replicate this winning formula. Awards season arrived with a flurry of nominations. The film racked up nods in categories including Best Actor, Cinematography, Original Score, and more. Everywhere Pacino went, from glitzy galas to quiet press events, reporters prodded him for thoughts on recognition. He handled the spotlight with casual humility, insisting that the project's real victory lay in connecting so deeply with audiences. That said, he admitted it felt exhilarating to see a bold, unconventional film ascend in a marketplace often crowded by formulaic releases. Now, not only had he defied the doubters who claimed his prime was over, he had redefined what was possible for an industry veteran seeking a fresh challenge. In the post-release swirl, Pacino participated in a heartfelt Q&A at a major film academy. There, before a rapt audience of aspiring actors and directors, he revealed that at times he feared taking such a massive leap. His career, spanning decades, was built on major triumphs and the occasional misstep. Yet, stepping into unknown territory gave him the same adrenaline rush he had felt as a young actor with everything to prove. He spoke of forcing himself to confront complacency, to rip open hidden layers and expose emotional truths that could be unsettling. Some in the crowd later wrote that it felt like a masterclass in fearless devotion to the craft, all the more moving because it came from an artist who had every reason to rest on his laurels but refused to. Soon, critics named the film a modern classic, holding it up alongside Pacino's greatest hits. It sparked a wave of fresh discussions about how a longtime star, often pigeonholed by the public's nostalgia, could reinvent himself for a new generation. Even cynics admitted that the extraordinary synergy between Pacino's performance and the director's vision proved that age and familiarity need not hamper artistic innovation. Online essays celebrated how the film wove universal themes, identity, consequence, redemption, into a shape that felt raw and immediate. In each piece, the reviewers singled out Pacino's willingness to bare his soul, reminding the world of the raging fire that had fueled his earliest breakthroughs and now powered an epic second wind. For fans, the film transcended mere entertainment. Enthusiasts launched detailed analyses comparing Pacino's new portrayal with the layered complexities of his older, iconic roles. Some pointed out parallels in the way he used micro-expressions to convey internal conflict. Others noted new techniques he introduced, subtle modulations in voice, a hint of physical vulnerability never before seen. Viewing marathons sprang up, where participants binged his classic works alongside the new film to chart his evolution. Many emerged convinced that Pacino had not only re-established his cinematic dominance, but also revealed facets of himself that younger fans had never witnessed. As the rapturous reviews kept rolling, talk of a sequel or spiritual follow-up emerged. The director hinted that the film's final scene, brimming with existential tension, might be an entry point for a broader narrative. When asked if he would return, Pacino flashed an enigmatic grin. He said that while he never liked to plan too far ahead, the project had awakened in him a thirst to keep forging forward. The possibility of building a fresh saga for cinema, in partnership with the fearless creative minds he had discovered, seemed exciting, though not locked in. The mere suggestion that Pacino might step back into these uncharted waters sent fans into a new round of speculation. Months later, the wave of excitement showed no sign of diminishing. People still packed theaters to see re-releases of the film, drawn to the big-screen experience that streaming could not replicate. Some viewers confided that they had found it life-changing, prompting introspection about their own values and aspirations. They credited Pacino's authenticity, saying it felt as though he was speaking directly to the audience through his character, urging them not to settle for half measures in life. Social media echoed with emotional testimonials praising the resilience portrayed on screen, tying it to real-world struggles for hope. The emotional fervor around the film fueled multiple charitable tie-ins, as Pacino quietly sponsored programs for underprivileged youth, encouraging them to pursue creativity without fear. As accolades arrived, culminating in a series of prestigious honors for Pacino, the actor remained grounded. He continued to describe himself as merely a part of a remarkable ensemble, despite the film's unstoppable association with his name. Cast members publicly recounted how his dedication inspired them to achieve new heights in their own performances. One rising star described how a single off-camera conversation with Pacino changed her entire approach to character work. Another recalled how the legendary actor calmly coached him through a difficult sequence, demonstrating the subtle ways body language can communicate unspoken truths. To them, Pacino's greatest gift was not just raw talent, but a generous spirit that elevated everyone around him. Looking back, it became clear that Pacino's astonishing reinvention was not accidental. It was the product of an unrelenting drive to explore every facet of performance, combined with a willingness to partner with creators who challenged him. By all accounts, he had seized the unknown with both hands, refusing to let age, history, or risk deter him. This story will likely be told for generations. How a titan of cinema, already enshrined in the annals of film history, stepped forward in a brave new era to create something that transcended mere nostalgia or cameo appearances. In many ways, he embodied the essence of reinvention itself, proving that the human spirit, at least in the hands of an actor like Al Pacino, has no fixed endpoint. In the final analysis, the unstoppable rise of Pacino's shocking new film can be attributed to an alchemical blend of his storied past, the boundless ambition of the creative team, and an audience yearning for originality. The result was a cinematic collision so intense that it rattled the industry's comfortable norms, reminding people why film still matters as an art form. Even major studios took note, adjusting their slates and offering more leeway to boundary-pushing pitches. Everywhere, the message was clear. If Al Pacino can reinvigorate the medium with such force, perhaps the door is open for others willing to test the limits. Observers called this a turning point, a sign that star power combined with audacity could revive the best impulses of an industry, sometimes lost in corporate agendas. Interviews with seasoned directors suggested that Pacino's performance had raised the artistic bar across the board. One director, widely respected for challenging mainstream formulas, admitted to rethinking his entire approach after watching the film. He realized that if an actor of Pacino's age and background could shift gears so drastically, then the excuses younger artists make about being boxed into certain styles no longer held weight. The ripple effects extended beyond Hollywood, touching global cinema. International festivals invited the film on a worldwide tour, where viewers in distant lands recognized the universal depth in Pacino's portrayal. Language barriers seemed irrelevant. Audiences responded to the pure humanity glowing through his every movement. In the wake of the phenomenon, Pacino's older catalog soared in popularity once more. Streaming services prominently featured classic titles, capitalizing on the fervor. The synergy prompted a wave of rediscovery. Younger fans realized the continuum of Pacino's skill. The same spark that once electrified gangster dramas had now matured into an even deeper reservoir of emotion. Critics noted that this new film, while thematically different, echoed certain concerns he had always explored: the pull of destiny, the cost of ambition, the fragility of conscience. Those who had underestimated him finally understood. Al Pacino wasn't content to rest on laurels. He had always been on a mission to push cinematic language forward. By the year's end, Pacino's project had claimed multiple accolades, soared in box office returns, and ignited a wave of critical discourse that breathed fresh life into the film community. The Academy honored him in a special tribute, not simply for this new success, but for an entire career that now felt like one grand, ongoing saga. Pacino took the stage at that ceremony with quiet grace. He acknowledged every person who had joined him on this journey, from longtime collaborators to the newcomers who helped shape his transformation. Fans across the globe watched, tears in their eyes, marveling at how their beloved icon had once more scaled a creative peak that seemed insurmountable. In the aftermath, as the film's legacy settled into cinema history, Pacino himself spoke candidly about the experience. He likened it to his second debut, a chance to do what he loved most in a form no one expected. His remarks were peppered with gratitude for an audience that refused to pigeonhole him, an audience that had faith in his capacity to break boundaries no matter how much time had passed since his earliest breakthroughs. The final verdict was unanimous. Pacino's astonishing reinvention delivered a thunderous reminder that genuine artistry never fades. It endures, transforms, and can ignite a cultural conversation when nurtured by fearless passion. For countless admirers around the world, this story stands as living proof of what can happen when an actor with a towering legacy chooses not to rest comfortably, but to gamble everything in pursuit of an untested vision. The saga of Al Pacino's secret collaboration, revealed through cryptic trailers and breathless word of mouth, culminated in a film that not only revived his star power, but also revitalized a jaded industry. Long after the final curtain fell, the echoes of his performance continued to resonate, inspiring budding talents to aim higher and older legends to reconsider what might still be possible. Ultimately, in an entertainment sphere that often prioritizes rapid turnarounds, Pacino's tale reminded everyone why patience, audacity, and unwavering conviction remain essential ingredients in forging cinematic greatness.